Hello and welcome back to The Hungry Lamb. My name is Ming Dynasty, and last time we were about to leave the city with the girls and we get stopped by two people. They were the two people that Tung hired to kill us, and we're just like, no, we don't know no Tung. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, they're like, yeah, just go on your merry way. So we leave on our way to the next town, and on our way there, we kind of spend a few days kind of learning more shadow play stuff, and eventually Liang and Mansui perform in front of the other girls, and they have a jolly good old time. And end up basically with Liang getting over his phobia or his trauma with the his previous shadow play experience and the thing that happened during his childhood. And then we go to a flashback, going back to Mansui's past, seeing how terrible the situation is. They have no food, they're selling everything they have, and now her brother is sick. So the father's forced to sell their family heirloom treasure in order to basically make it so that they can survive, get enough medicine for the boy and enough food for the family. I don't really understand what the family heirloom thing is. It seemed like there was like, I thought it was gonna be jewelry, but no, it was like some kind of meat with like things growing on it. So I'm not sure. But Mansui gave her father one last like little charm before he departed. I'm just like, yeah. Liang definitely killed her father. Oh, that's gonna hurt. But today we're gonna continue on with chapter 12, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. I forgot what it's called, but let's head into it. No, hungry person. In the foggy ruins, I heard a voice. It sounded like a man, humble and panicked. How can I help you? I asked the man who spoke. I wonder if this is going to be a dream because this is the image on screen at the moment. He was kowtowing to me, on his knees, banging his head against the ground, eyes all red from hunger. I'll share some food with you, but not a heap. Just enough for 2 days. I reached out from the darkness and passed him the food I had procured from nowhere. Who was this person? I couldn't rightly tell who he was by his hungry mug. He actually shared food with someone else, huh? The misty scene swiftly crumbles away. Yep, it's a dream. A new setting sprang up from the ground, appearing abruptly before me. It was a rundown old mansion. The mansion gate lay smashed open, the courtyard strewn with broken rice jars, and the ground littered with mutilated bodies. Amongst these bodies were children, elderly ones, landlords, and their disheveled concubines. All of them lay with their throats slit in pools of blood, while several bandits sat in the distance. Is it gonna be like Liang once like saved a bandit who ended up killing a whole bunch of people extremely mercilessly? Some perch on the collapsed house beams, others make on makeshift chairs fashioned from corpses, laughing and chatting about the recent carnage. I recognized them. The leader of those bandits was none other than the starving man I had rescued not too long ago. You killed their whole family?
そうだ。何十人と殺した。兄弟たちは食料を奪って人殺し。奴の女どもと楽しんだのさ。
Damn. Oh, that's gotta weigh on Liang's consciousness.
両様、俺たちも仕方なかった。金持ちはみんな同じ。同情のかけらもありやしね。俺たちが食料を要求すると、門を固く閉ざしたまま、一粒の米もよこさない。兄弟たちが門のそばにいると、使用人に石を投げられて、大勢の兄弟が頭から血を流した。俺たちはな、みんな飢え死にした人間の山から這い出てきたんだ。このままいても飢え死にするだけ。奪って何が悪い?
Damn, he's basically saying like, these people, they're not even willing to spare anything. Why should we care about them? In fact, we shouldn't. We should take from them instead. It's a very bandit mindset.
俺たちが門を破って裏庭に飛び込むと、あの野郎10年分の食料を溜め込んでやがった。少しは分けてくれてもいいだろう。兄弟たちはカッとなって全員を皆殺しにしたのさ。人は血を見るともう止められねえ。
If you just killed them, I'd be fine with it too, but raping women, slaughtering the young and old, Is that what humans do? That's downright beastly. I clenched my teeth angrily and laid on to him.
クソくれ様をつけて呼んでやったのが本気だと思ってたのかこんな世の中俺たちみたいな持たざる者は悪人になるしか生きていけねえんだ自分だってそんなにたくさん踏みつけてるじゃねえか
He jeered twice and nodded at my feet. I looked down in panic. Underneath me laid a mountain of dead bodies. It was submerged in the black lake. Only a few men stuck out above the surface. I had no clue what lay beneath. As I stared into the dark depths below, the shape became clearer. Underneath the whole lake were women, old folks, and the kids' bodies. Those near the top were swollen and blackened, limbs hanging down, faces below. Further down, some were snarling, showing some monstrous fangs, trying hard to climb up. Ah! I yelled, falling back and nearly slipping off the heaps of bodies.
りょうお前は女子供を一人も殺しちゃいないがそいつらはお前のせいで死んだんだ
Yeah, that is something that Tongue said before. It's like, you keep up your honor by only killing men, but the people that relied on those men are going to die because you killed that person. Oh, I think that's what's gonna happen with Mansui. Her family situation went to shit after Liang ended up killing her father. I know that's what's gonna happen at this point. And it's gonna show how Tongue's words were true. He messed up other people's lives because he became a bandit. It's like your dignity and honor doesn't mean shit if this is what you're doing. The bandit leader in the distance sat on another pile of bodies. That's when I realized he seemed to have changed his voice and appearance. His voice was Tongue's, and so was his face.
りょうお前も悪人のくせに何善人面してるんだ俺と一緒に死ね一緒に死ね
Oh man, Tongue really lost his head when he lost his head. Tongue yelled at me and started laughing like crazy. He grabbed the dagger, stabbed himself in the neck, blush gushing out. All of a sudden, his body exploded, broke apart, and merged with the blood. The blood turned into a rushing flood, with faces of the bodies appearing on it. Boom, boom, boom. I heard a loud thundering noise erupt. A flood of blood, crawling with heads, crushed towards me, blocking my sight completely. The piles of bodies beneath me and the lake below started to shake. Oh my god. There are so many hands! Yoshikaga Kira, go away! The pile swiftly sank. Men on the surface stared at me, while women and children below the lake extended their hands, trying to pull me down. Oh my god! How far does this go? Oh, there we go. Oh, one last one. The dead stared with wide eyes and twisted faces, roaring to kill me. I panicked, trying hard to escape, but there was no way out, and I slowly sank into the sea of corpses. Wake up! Wake up!
Ryo-sama. Ryo-sama.
Suddenly, I heard a voice. It was Mansui's voice, slicing through the air, breaking apart this blood-soaked world. Her voice turned into a spider silk beam of light, piercing through the pile of bodies. Oh, the spider silk thing. I reached out, grabbing the light she set down. I was lifted into the sky by it. And it's gonna snap. Whoa! Ah! I woke up in a panic from the nightmare. Mansui was right there beside me. Her face looked odd, a bit scared. Guess it was just a dream.
Ryo-sama, どうしました?
Alright, at the end of the last chapter, Liang was like, the first time I went to such a deep sleep. Just a bad dream. And you? Why do you look so scared? I asked her, puzzled.
眠っていたのですが、急におかしな音が聞こえました。嫌な予感がします。
Come to think of it, I don't know what this chapter is called. Daring Leader. Okay. Uh-oh. What kind of sounds?
伏せて聞いてみてください。
Matsui pointed down, saying to me. I leaned down, pressing my ears to the ground. Oh, I think it's horses. I heard faint rumbling. It sounded like a flood in my dreams. In my dreams, I thought it was the sound of a flood. But after waking, I realized it was hoofbeats. Riders were nearby. Given the intensity, there might be dozens, maybe even hundreds of them. Not good. Wake everyone up. We gotta move fast. I scrambled up, rousing the still dozing lambs. The lambs blinked away sleep, rising to their feet.
亮様、何があったんですか?
We gotta go, no time. Just waking. Qianghua tilted her head, questioning me. No time for questions, let's go! I hurriedly told Qianghua, tossing yesterday's unpacked parcels onto the pack horse and undoing its tether. But it was probably too late. I heard hooves yelling behind me. From about 30 steps away, I saw shadows moving. Though far off, those shadows were definitely horsemen, at least 30, maybe even 50 of them. Hurry! I led the pack horse and the lambs, trying to escape, but the figure in the distance were swiftly riding closer. Goddamn guns! Fight me like a real samurai! The soldiers were talking in the northern Shan accent, threatening us with arrows and arrows. Okay, and I know I said samurai is a joke, but this is in China, and I could faintly hear the strings being drawn. What now? Grab the last chance to flee, or play it safe and hope for the best. Ooh, okay. I think sprinting away is going to be the bad ending. Gotta go, escape. No time to think, just run. We're in the woods, lots of tree for cover. Even if they shoot arrows, they'll miss. These people aren't friendly. If we fall into their hands, we won't be able to reason with them. We'll be killed, or eaten, or tortured if they catch us. We better run now. I took a step, leaving the lambs behind, and sprinted off. The rebels yelled as I ran away. Suddenly arrows whizzed by. Whoosh! 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 Some hit trees, some by my feet, some just missed my ear. Nice, none of the arrows got me. Luck's on my side. Whoosh! Just as I felt lucky, an arrow came flying at me. It wasn't from behind, but right in front of me. The arrow hit me in the knee. Oh! A sharp pain shot through my knee as the arrow pierced it, crumbling me to the ground. I can't fathom why the arrow came from the front. I glanced up to see the bandits lurking all around us, already lying in wait. I heard Qionghua's shout from afar. Couldn't understand why it was her and not Kui-er, Hong-er, or even Mansui. Anyway, I hit the ground hard with an arrow in my knee. Ah, my adventure days, no! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More arrows came flying at me. These rebels sure had a good aim against a down target. Many arrows pierced my back and buttocks, and even my neck. I had many holes in me, all bleeding. Damn it, to be shot dead like this. I fell to the ground into a pile of leaves stained red with my blood. Faintly, I heard the screams and cries of the lambs and the bandits' furious curses. I'm dead. In the end, I don't even know who those rebels marching in the woods are. I'm dead. I couldn't protect those lambs. Not like this. It can't end like this. Died halfway. Used to be a bandit, but then you took an arrow to the knee. I see. Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling running away was going to be a bad choice. So I gotta stop. So, it's from my understanding, those two people, the two groups, are not part of the same group. One of them is like the rebels on horses, and the other group are bandits. Maybe the rebels are trying to hunt down bandits, and that's how we're gonna get out of this, by showing that we aren't a bandit. Stop. No. Can't let them shoot. Even if I were confident enough to take the risk with these lambs. No escape, no arrows! I spun around and yelled, making us all stop in our tracks. I stood rooted to the spot, and so did the lambs. It seemed almost as though we were struck in place by some magical spell. Seeing we weren't moving, the riders lowered their bows and advanced cautiously, the horses edging closer step by step. Before long, they emerged from the trees. Not just one, but a whole bunch of them, with still more catching up. They quickly surrounded us. Many approached us, at least 20 from what I could see. The sound of hooves, footsteps, clashing weapons echoed around us. There's no telling how many more people were concealed and distant. As they drew nearer, I could finally make them out. Men on horseback, dressed in rough clothes, some with red robes draped over the shoulders, others wearing red turbans. Some carried axes, others swords. Their attire and weapons varied. They didn't look friendly. Their eyes were both ignorant and fierce. As they closed in on us, they stared at us intently like we were prey. I wonder if we're gonna see a model of one of them. A portrait. Who were they? My mind raced trying to figure that out. For starters, they aren't official soldiers. Regular army types have a peculiar look. But then, they don't usually cut through the hills like this. If they're heading somewhere official, they stick to the main road. So are they bandits then? That's not right either. I traveled from this road from Shanzhou to Haizhou before. Never heard of any big camps in these hills, and even if there were, they wouldn't have many horsemen. Bandits are usually broke and only get a few horses. They don't come from a camp with hundreds of men. And something's off. Why would these people be riding horses in the mountain? I was actually thinking that because, like, I imagine the terrain is not good for horses. I imagine they had to do this to chase maybe the bandits that we ran into. Sure, it's a bit flatter here, no steep slopes. You can just barely ride a horse. But why bother?
両様、反乱軍です。
Just as I was puzzled, Mansui suddenly spoke up. Rebels? I paused. She brought me back to reality. Yeah, these folks sure look like rebels. In the last decade, there have been non-stop disasters all around, so things aren't as peaceful as they used to be. Many people are on the brink of starvation and have band together, turned to thievery to survive, and those thieving gangs joined up to form rebel armies. Rebels riding through the mountains aren't too surprising. This bunch might be a scouting party, checking things out before the main force arrives. But I've only heard of rebels up in northern Shan. What are they doing here in Jin? The fellow from earlier had a northern Shan twanged in his talk. Could they really be from up north? Okay, we do get a portrait of them. Interesting. The lead rebel hopped off his horse, sizing me up. The rest of the rebels encircled us, blocking any way out. Shanzou. I replied calmly, showing dignity. I'm taking them to Haizhou. I stayed quiet. I felt lost for words. Honestly, it's tough to explain my connection with the lambs right now. It started out as their escort, but when I couldn't bear to leave them in a bad situation, I murdered my former partner and was now trying to arrange good endings for them. In that case, I guess I could still count as a human trafficker. The rebel leader saw that I didn't reply. He stared at me angrily, seeming to confirm that I was a human trafficker. If only Tung was here right now. Tung was good at spinning lies, and with a good enough story, we might be able to talk our way out of this before the crowd closes in. But with Tung here, we'd be working in shifts and wouldn't even have been caught off guard by a bunch of strangers. I think Mansui's gonna replace Tung in the brains of the group at this point.
兵士様、彼は人飼いじゃありません。私たちは影絵劇の劇団なんです。
Alright, we could go with that. That's what we did last time, but now we are actually openly, like, practicing it.
両様は私たちの師匠で、ハイ州の長様に劇を見せに行くんです。
Just when I was unsure of what to say, Mansui spoke up. She seemingly took over Tung's role. That's what I was saying. This time she's pulling a similar trick to last time with the soldiers. Only this time, she didn't have to act like a mute. She smiled sweetly at the rebels while talking, showing them the wooden crates on the pack horse. The rebels on the horseback glared at her, but she didn't back down.
見せなくていい。影絵劇なんて知らん。この男が一人でなければいい。おいらが人生で一番嫌いなものは地主で、2番目は悪徳管理で、3番目は人売りだ。
Human traffickers. I quit that job 3 days ago.
このどれかであれば、お前の首を切り落とす。皮を剥いでやる。
I guess this guy is like the honorable rebel type of person because he has things that he sticks by that are clearly bad. People that are abusing like the common folk, which are landlords, officials, and people who, human traffickers too. They're also abusing the common folk because they're using them to make money. The rebel grumbled out his words. He was blunt, saying whatever's on his mind. Can we leave then? I asked calmly, preparing to take the lamps and go.
ならん。
He lifted his sword, blocking our way.
軍記によれば、誰かに俺たちの行進を見られたら、 簡単に逃がしちゃダメなんだよ。
Hey, we didn't see anything until you talked to us.
娘を連れて一緒に来てもらうぞ。兄貴に決めてもらう。
Oh, okay. At least they're not. You know, that makes sense. They're like, we're literally rebels. If anyone reports us, our entire operation could fall. So we're gonna see whether or not we can trust you to just leave. But it's not my role. I'll let my Aniki do it. Right now we're daring leader, so I guess the leader is going to be the leader of the rebels. The rebel gruffly told me off, his haughty demeanor rubbing me the wrong way. The other rebels gave us fierce looks. It seemed that if I tried to take the lambs and leave, they'd kill us on the spot. Ugh. Compared to the regular soldiers, these guys might lack cunning, but they're simpler and rougher. Going with them, where would that lead us? Well, I guess it's better than deserters, right? Because last time they took a whole bunch of our resources. This time, I guess it depends on how it turns out. If we die, then this is obviously worse. I didn't pull out my sword against the rebels. There were too many of them, and I knew I couldn't win. I wasn't allowed to throw my life away. So, along with the lambs, they tied us up and marched us to their main force. Well, at least, hopefully, they won't try to sell us off as slaves because that guy hates human traffickers. I never liked the rebels much. Most of them were starving people from up north in northern Shan. In the past few years, they've been hit hard by one disaster after another. Droughts, floods, and locusts. The emperor promised relief funds, but it all got pocketed by officials and landlords, and nothing was left for the commoners. So they turned into rebels to avoid starving. I heard that the rebels aren't any better than bandits. They go around burning and looting, and sometimes they will rape women and slaughter the elderly and young. They could be even more vicious than the official soldiers and bandits. Wow, using official soldiers as one of the metrics as vicious. If we were to compare using animals, oh wow, we haven't done this in a while. I'd be a lone wolf, and they'd be a pack of wild dogs. Now I'm in their hands. It seems that these rebels really dislike human traffickers. I'll have to learn from Tung and Mansui to keeping cautious. I can't afford to be too brash when talking to them. Lost in thinking about the rebels, I walked with them for about 2 hours. When I came back to my senses, we were out of the mountain in a village. Huh. This village actually has some green. The village seemed like a small one on Jin's southern border. I've never been here before. Don't know where it is either. Where are we? Asked the rebels leading us. Li Jia village. Okay. He told me the place's name. Where are we headed now? Boss Li. The rebel replied to me. At the same time, he led me through Li Jia village. The village didn't look rich, and there were a few people about. However, it seemed that the village hadn't been hit hard by disasters, and the crops weren't too bad, unlike the hellish scene in Shuigol village. I noticed that the rebels were talking to the villagers. Some of them were holding hoes, while others were carrying fertilizer buckets. They were moving around the fields, seemingly working. Oh, that's weird. Are these rebels even working for the villagers? I wonder if this is like a mafia yakuza situation where it's like we're protecting these people so they're growing food for us. The rebel warned us, then took us across a farm to a big house. The house was bigger than others in the village, with a well in the front. It seemed like where a respected village elder would live. Guided by the rebels, we walked towards the house and first saw a red flag stuck in the ground. But then we overheard the boss speaking with a village elder.
Ji-san, あんたのせいもり、おいらのせいもりだ。ほら、俺たちは縁があるのさ。おいらたちは悪人なんかじゃねえ。みんな善良な平民だ。悪徳管理にはめられただけなんだ。やむを得ず反抗した。後で小屋で牛を見せてくれ。おいらはな、宿場で使用人をしてたんだ。家畜のことはよくわかってる。
I don't know what it is. I feel like he's gonna be a better person, but so far the way he's talking kind of reminds me of Tung.
もちろん。あんた確かに族らしくない。連れてる仲間もいい人たちじゃ。あんたら我々の命も財産も奪おうとせん。
Wow.
痛いだけいるがいい。 でも心配なんじゃ。いつかお上がやってきて罪を我々にかぶせたら
That's true.
どうすればいいんじゃ。
This is very risky for the villagers.
簡単さ。官兵が来たらオイラがあんたの首に刀を突きつけ、オイラたちを2日間かくまわせたと言えばいい。オイラたちがみんな悪人だと言うんだ。オイラたちのせいで飢え死にしそうだと。
More
オイラたちを空腹にしたら
cannibalism.
村人が食われてしまうと。
Oh! As we turned the corner, we could see the old man sigh, while beside him is a smiling younger man was chatting. I guess this is Leader Lee? Leader Lee, yes. He looks like he's actually kind of, well, he doesn't look like a bandit. No, I expected a lot of the rebels to look kind of disheveled, but he looks kind of cool. The young man wore a felt hat and a blue upper garment. He seemed to be in his prime, with the prominent cheekbones, set deep eyes, and a straight nose, and eyebrows that looked like that of an eagle. His face wasn't handsome, but gave off a sharp and capable vibe. Was he the boss of this band of rebels?
兄貴、
なんだ。
報告がある。朝に山を見回っていると煙が見えた。最初は正規軍かと思ったが、近づいてみると違った。山にいたのはこいつらだ。男が一人で4人の小娘を連れていた。人売りのようだ。
Hey, I am not actually. He does plan to sell them still, but okay, maybe.
ほう。
Oh, his face went like. The boss scanned me and the girls with his eagle-like eyes. Finally, he locked eyes with me, and I returned his gaze. I met his stare with dignity, trying to match his aura without backing
お
down.
前、どこから来た？
Shanto.
泉州の人間か？
Nope. Born elsewhere.
いくつだ？
Oh, we can actually see how old he is. 26. He is 26 years old. Shit, I thought he was gonna be like... The way he acted was like in his 30s. But, once again, in an environment like this, you kind of have to grow up fast.
奇遇だな。俺と同い年だ。何かの縁で結ばれてるのか。
Damn, he's like, asking like 50 questions. Hey, for one of these questions, we have something in common. Yeah, let's hang out. He grinned, his tense expression easing up. This rebel leader sure likes finding common ground with others. I reckon that he's just using that trick to get close. By the looks of him, don't seem like we're the same age.
おい、お前、人売りなのか？
As I mulled over his age, he coldly repeated his question. No way. Guess I'll have to stick with the story that Mansui spun earlier. We aren't human traffickers, we're a theater trope, taking these girls to Haizo to perform.
何の劇だ？
Shadow play.
影劇？それならオイラも好きなんだ。道具はあるのか？
Got it all. Everything's on the pack horse. The boss took a moment to think after that. He gave me a look, then checked out the lambs.
小娘ども。こいつはオイラを騙してないな。
両様は嘘ついてません。本当です。騙してね。
She's like, no lies! The lambs were all helping with the lie, but except for Mansui, who was quite skilled, the other 3 lambs seemed quite a bit awkward. It didn't feel like we could keep up the act much longer. What now?
怪しい。怪しいぞ。
The boss frowned as he glanced at the lambs.
オイラはいろんなやつを見てきた。劇団員もだ。
We're
絶
new.
対にこんなやつじゃねえ。
We're very new.
お前は体格もよく、目つきも悪い。一目で悪人だとわかる。だがなぜ小娘どもはお前をかばって嘘をつくんだ？
Damn, he's sharp. He furrowed his brow in confusion and asked. He has sharp eyes.
兄貴、こいつらの話はどうもうさんくせえ。頭良くねえおいらだが信じらんねえぜ。こいつは人売りだ。小娘は騙されてる。早く始末しようぜ。
The rebel who brought us here seemed to have figured out that we weren't a theater troupe. He angrily drew his sword, ready to attack us.
おい、早まるな。
Boss Lee bellowed angrily, stopping his men abruptly.
おいらはもう決めたんだから焦るな。 いいか、正直お前が劇団員だろうが人売りだろうがどうでもいい。
The rebel leader looked at me and spoke directly.
食料供給には限りがあるから多くの人を連れて行くのが無理だ。この軍隊は極秘に進軍している。お前らを簡単に逃がして通報されるわけにはいかんのだ。こうしよう。簡単なことだ。お前はオイラの手下と勝負する。
Why do I have to fight? What does that prove?
勝ったらお前を軍に入れる。負けたらお前らは皆殺し。
The rebel leader shot me a sharp look, offering a blunt and deadly suggestion. This is called a daring leader. Yeah, he's quite daring. A showdown? Was he thinking I look handy enough to take on his men? Sounds reasonable. If I win, it shows that I'm valuable to him. He'd rather recruit me than kill me. Seems like a safe bet. But what about the lambs? Have I tried negotiating with him and just agreed to the showdown? Huh. I feel like the right choice is to negotiate, because if you just agree to this, it shows that you don't actually care about the girls. While this, it shows that you do. But I gotta save just in case. So let's agree to the showdown. Deciding life and death with a match, huh? I'm in. I won't join you. If I win, you let me walk free.
いいだろう。お前が勝ったら無理に引き止めはしない。だがあいつらはどうする？
Boss Lee pointed towards the lamb beside us. They looked at me, their expressions filled with worry and fear. I look away and stay quiet. Now's not the time to worry about them. If I try to negotiate with the boss, he might change his mind in a fit of anger. Better secure my own safety first. Later, I'll figure out how to handle the lambs.
お前も小娘たちに思いやりがないようだな。まあいい。では勝負だ。誰か刀の使い手を呼んで竹刀を2本持ってこい。
Oh! Huh. Boss Lee agreed to my suggestion. He waved his hands and the young rebel hurried off to fetch the bamboo swords for a match. Huh. Interesting. After a stick of intense time, the rebel who was going to spar with me brought 2 bamboo sticks.
おい、受け取れ。
The rebel swordsman tossed the bamboo stick, hurling it towards me. I reached out and caught it, gripping it tight. This isn't a bamboo sword, it's just a stick. I looked at the bamboo stick in my hand, frowning.
そいつを使えばいい。この軍は裕福じゃない。普段は竿だけで稽古しているんだ。
Who's my match? That big guy over there? I peek at the burly figure standing behind the hothead. That guy, he's towering 9-footer. He's a towering 9-footer with a fierce mug like a door god. There's a door god? Ah, there we go. Rebel BBB, that's me. He said it coldly before snatching the bamboo stick from the hothead. Without hesitation, he came charging at me. Huh. Judging by his clumsy steps, it's clear that he's all brawn and no brains. Easy pickings. Whoosh! The big guy swung his stick, closing the gap just 2 steps away from me, then charged forward, aiming a hard swing at my upper body. I took a quick step back, leaned away to avoid his first swing. At the same time, I spun my waist, lifting the stick to slash at his neck. Smack! Quick as a flash, my stick hit his neck before he could dodge. He grunted in pain at the blow. In just one round, I managed to hit this brute right in the neck. He froze in place, stunned by my blow. Initially, it seemed like he wanted to retaliate, but seeing my stick against his neck, he thought better of it. If I used the real blade, his neck would have been halfway severed by now. Looks like I won.
やるな。
Bro, let me
今度
go.
はオイラが相手だ。
Let me at him, let me at him. Right after I sorted out the door god, I heard Boss Lee calling out. He grabbed the bamboo stick and came charging at me. Huh? Wasn't the match over? Why is he jumping in now? He didn't waste a second. He came charging at me, swinging his bamboo stick with a fierce determination. His strikes came fast and strong. Like a stampede, I couldn't escape. I dodged to the side just in time to avoid both attacks. Then, as I went to counter with a swing of my own, he struck again. Had a remarkable speed and invincible force, making it impossible to dodge. Bring it on, Jododa! I braced myself and swung back with all I had. Ooh, cool. We got a full picture now. That other picture was a little bit blurry. I have to say, the illustrations, like the CGs, they are pretty dang good.
もういっちゃ。
Boom, one more. He swung his bamboo stick and I swung mine. The two rattled against each other in rapid succession. We clashed for several more rounds.
やるな
Nice moves! He praised, then swiftly twisted his body, swinging his bamboo stick towards me. Sharp, fast, precise, and skillful. In his hands, the bamboo stick seemed to take on the essence of a blade. What skill! This guy wasn't just a figurehead, he knew how to wield a blade. Not daring to slow down, I surged forward, meeting his blade flashes head on. Blade flashes clash and intertwined, creating a dazzling display of light. Huh? I backed off, taking a breath. We've been going at it for 30 rounds, it's still neck to neck. His strikes keep coming hard and fast. I'm holding on, giving it everything I got, but just barely keeping it up. But I know I got what it takes to come out on top. As the fight went on, I could see that his hits weren't hitting as hard. I'm getting a hang of his fancy moves. Won't be long before I reckon I can take him down. But I got to hold on tight. My energy is draining, heart's pounding like crazy, taste of blood in my mouth, vision getting fuzzy. Gotta hang in there if I want to win.
もういいやめたやめた
What?
疲れたもうやめたおいらの刀をこれほど受け切ったやつは初めてだお前のみんな逃がしてやる行くがいい
Oh, cool. He says, first time I seen anyone take so many hits. He panted hard and looked at me tired. I won? And you'll let us all go? I just stared at him dumbfounded. I figured he'd let me go, but I didn't expect him to let the lambs go just like that.
ああ小娘たちがいても使い道がない
Oh, he's a good
連れて
dude.
行けみんな連れて行くがいい
Boss Lee tossed a bamboo stick to his men and gestured towards me. Aren't you afraid I'll snitch to the officials if I run into them?
思わんな手を合わせればわかるさお前
Oh
は
man,
通報するようなやつじゃない
this guy's so anime. He's like, we've exchanged blows, we're best friends now. Boss Lee glanced at me, grinned and chuckled. Is this guy serious? Is he really gonna letting us walk away like this? I shot him a skeptical look, but I didn't want to stick around for any longer. I went over to the lambs and was about to lead them away. We're leaving. I said slowly to the lambs and casually took Kui-Er's hand.
待て
Boss Lee suddenly yelled out. I stopped. The lambs stopped too. They were a bit scared and I was a bit worried. What now? Is he changing his mind? We're supposed to be free if we won the match. In the end, is he afraid we'll report the route to the officials and won't let us go?
もう夜も遅い夜道を歩くのも危ないしここに一晩泊まったらどうだあそれからお前らは影劇ができるんだったなそれは本当なのか嘘なのか
Ugh.
おいらたち兄弟はみんな貧しい田舎の出身で影劇なんか見たことねえんだおいらたちはいつ命を落とすかわからねえ数百人で官兵と戦えば生き残るのは十数人さ一度劇を見れば多くの奴らにとってそれが最初で最後になる
兄貴縁起でもねえことを前に言ってたじゃねえか兵士の気持ちを乱すことを言うなって
I like this guy. Not this guy, but like the captain.
また余計なことを言うのか兵士の気持ちなんか乱してねえ数百人のうち一人でもいい官兵を殺しさえすればおいらたちの勝ちだ死にたくなければ暴れるな暴れるなら死を恐れるな最初にそう言っただろなんで兵士の気持ちを乱すことになるんだ
He's like, you will get what you want out of this. If you want to stay safe, run away. If you're scared, try to, protect yourself. If you want to basically attack, go for it. That's, he wants, I guess the best way to say this is that as the rebel leader, he wants the best for the rebels.
兄貴の言う通りだおいらたちは死を恐れねえおいらたちは暴れ回ってる
すまねえなみっともねえところを見せちまってとにかく一度劇を見せてくれないかどんな劇でもいいからよただでとは言わないうまい酒と料理をご馳走しよう
Boss Lee eyed me and the lambs, his face lighting up with a sly grin as he rambled on. He was so eager and sincere that it was tough to turn him down. Plus, the night was unforgiving on these mountain trails, and a break in a friendly village sounded tempting. And well, the promise of a hearty meal and some drinks was hard to resist. I glanced at the lambs. They seemed to be on board too. Alright, we'll do it your way. We're not good at acting, so don't expect much. And if the officials come tomorrow, we'll say that you made us stay.
なあ、それでいい。リゴ、寝泊まりする場所を案内してやれ。
This guy's cool. Okay, I'm going to go back and see what happens if I decide to negotiate. Deciding life and death with a match, huh? I'm fine with that. But I want to talk about terms again.
ほう。
I don't want to join your army. If I win, you let us go. Not just me, all of them too. I'll fight you more, but these girls go with me.
おいらに条件をつけるとは、いい度胸だな。
Yep, won't fight without that condition. I stared at Boss Lee firm.
じゃあ、娘一人の命につき、一勝負。
Oh damn.
受けるか？
Yeah. Boss Lee's frowned, eyeing me coldly before nodding slowly.
じゃあ決まりだ。そうしよう。
Alright, I think this'll be...
刀の使い手
Whoa!
を5人呼んで、竹刀を6本持ってこい。
5 sharp blades and 6 bamboo swords. With my proposal accepted, he motioned for his men to prepare for the challenge. Gotta make it hard on myself. After about a stick of intense time, a few rebel soldiers came one by one. They had bamboo sticks in their hands, which had been roughly cut by knives.
おい、受け取れ。
And it's gonna be the bamboo stick. Okay,
そいつを
so
使えばいい。
this
この
time
軍は裕福
it's...
じゃない。
we're
普段は
fighting
竿だけで
5
稽古している
people.
んだ。
We're like, who's first? I look at the row of rebel
おい
swordsmen.
らからだ。
Okay, this is gonna be the same. Oh, we actually had a swing animation. Smack. Quick as a flash, and the stick hits the neck before he could dodge. Okay, that part's the same. Rebel C. Oh hell, I'm coming for you. Another one, watching his buddy's quick loss, seemed ticked. He grabbed the bamboo stick and rushed at me. Crack, crack. The new guy swung his stick at me repeatedly. I blocked, and in no time we exchanged blows 3 times. He's got some nerve, a real fighter. Oh, moves. Without a deep breath, eyes fixed on his moves, hunting for a gap. Found it! When he swung, his left side was open. I sidestepped and swung my stick at his waist. The stick sliced through the air, hitting him with a crisp sound.
おいらの番だ。
Just as I dealt with the second challenger, I heard Boss Lee call out. He's like, my turn, but he wants to challenge me too? Okay, I think this part's also gonna be the same. Oh, here he says, afterwards he says, my energy's draining, heart's pounding like crazy, taste of blood in my mouth, vision getting fuzzy. Gotta hang in there if I want to win. And it's gonna end the same way.
疲れた、疲れた。もう
Yeah.
やめた。
We didn't finish
おいら
5
の
rounds,
刀
did
を
we?
おいら一人で3人分だ。お前は5勝したんだ。
Yeah, it's similar, but in this one we fight 3 people instead of 2. Is this alright? And you'll let us all go?
ああ、小娘たちがいても使い道がない。連れて行
Okay.
け。み
Boss
んな
Lee. Whoops.
連れて行くがいい。
He tossed the bamboo stick to his men and gestured towards me. Okay, this part's gonna be the same.
手を合わせる。
Alright, now we're back to where we were before. Boss Lee and his soldiers split. The lambs finally relaxed a bit. They started chatting with me in low voices.
さっきはかっこよかったです。りょう様は昨日の赤い衣みたいだった。
A red robe! Oh, she's probably talking about one of the shadow plays. Red robe? Like Lu Bu in the shadow play? These lambs sure know how to flatter. I told them we'd put on a shadow play later. We'll do it like last night. The last night I will do the shadows. You girls bang the drums. Looked at Mansui and then addressed the other lambs.
うまくできたらお肉食べられる？
Yeah, I'll ask them for some meat later.
お肉よかった。りょう様、私たち本当に劇団みたいですね。
It's kind of cute now. The rascals were all talking over each other. Yeah. Guess I'm really getting into this role. I've forgotten my identity as a human trafficker and was now feeling more like the leader of a theater troupe. Maybe subconsciously, it might not have just been the promise of food and shelter that made me agree to stay. I really did just want to put on shadow plays with the lambs. After all, like Boss Lee said, the first chance in a lifetime may easily be the last. This would be the first time I'd act with the lambs in the front, and probably the last. As night fell, the silver moon peeked through the clouds. Boss Lee gathered a bunch of rebels and we lit a big fire in the village center. We set up the white screen in front of the campfire and the lambs tied the shadow puppets to the bamboo sticks. There were a lot of spectators tonight. The rebels formed circles around us, crowding close. Their eyes were wide with curiosity, not wanting to miss a thing. Just like Boss Lee said, they probably hadn't seen a shadow play before, so they were eager to see what we had in store. Whew! I let out a big breath and settled behind the white screen. Besides me, Monsui plopped down. She passed me Lu Bu and took Sang Fei. It was the same as the one we did last night. The three heroes battle Lu Bu.
りょう様、始めましょうか。
Okay. She gave me a small smile, and I nodded to the other lambs. The drum began, she took a deep breath, and started singing again.
身にまといしは黒よろい手にせるダボは一条八はや戦わん両夫本線今日こそ落とすそのそっくり
I feel like I've heard this 3 times now. Monsui sang softly, her voice blending with the crackling of the campfire, touching the hearts of the rebel soldiers gathering around. They're quite a lively bunch, I've got to say. After catching our shadow play, they've been cheering non-stop, craving for more. Under Boss Lee's order, they rearranged themselves, the soldiers in the front swapping with those in the back, and so we end up doing a few more rounds. After that, Boss Lee kept his word and treated us to a feast with good grub and drinks. Boss Lee's kind of cool, man. I already said that, but he's kind of cool. It was our first proper meal since Sanzo. And with my mind cleared, I chowed down heartily, filling up on the meat and knocking back plenty of booze. While we drank and ate meat, the rebels chatted around me. One of them shared a story about a few years back. He was gathering herbs in the mountain ravine and came face to face with a tiger. It snarled at him from about a dozen steps away, but he was so scared he fell to his knees, kowtowing and begging for mercy. But the tiger didn't get human talk. Instead of forgiving him, it wanted to bite him. Feeling scared, he thought whether he knelt or got bit or fought back, he'd die anyway. So he stood up and fought. He grabbed a stick nearby and swung at the tiger. Hitting its head hard, it howled, wanting to return the favor, but got hit again in the belly, hurting its insides. It ran off quickly. The crowd didn't believe the soldier's story and started mocking him. You beat a tiger? Nah, fam. Lies. You be capping. He got mad and insisted that he wasn't lying, standing up to argue with the others. That's when Boss Lee spoke up. He gulped down a jug of wine, motioned for his crews to cease their bickering, and then got to telling his own story. He said he used to be a messenger, drawing a salary from the emperor, but the government shuttered the messenger post after a few years, leaving him without a job. After that, he went back home to farm and became the village chief, but all he got was droughts and locusts, leaving the land barren. The taxes kept coming, so he borrowed from a lord named Ai to save himself and his neighbors. But when it was payback time, the grain prices shot up and he couldn't repay. Mr. Ai dragged him to court, beat him up, but spared him prison due to the villagers' pleas. Then more trouble. Mr. Ai and the officials conspired against him, planning to punish him even further, even to the point of death. Sentenced to die, he escaped with the help from the villagers. Soldiers chased him into the woods, intending to starve them to death. He was pushed to the brink several times. He never thought of rebellion before, but faced with starvation, he had no other choice. Oh, I see. His original origin story, like just being like a salary worker who, didn't have enough money. Got fired, didn't have enough money because his department closed, and he went back to become the village chief. Like, it was kind of, standard. Kind of made sense that he wouldn't be able to pay. It shows that he basically took on a debt for the sake of his village, and it just did not work out. but that's why the villagers helped break him out, because the guy was willing to basically sacrifice his life to help them, or at least risk it. After rebelling, there was no turning back for him. All that was left was to push forward. His words stirred up passion. Tears welled up in the eyes of the rebels beside him. Listening to all this, I didn't feel much. Although I despised the soldiers and landlords, I hadn't experienced the oppression they had. After hearing so much, I just felt sleepy. After that, I dozed off, woke up to the birds chirping and the rebels packing. Before I knew it, it was morning and time to go. Woke up the lambs, packed up, and said goodbye to the rebels. Boss Lee and his followers saw us off at the village entrance.
お前、本当にオイラたちと一緒に戦わないのか?
He stood by the village entrance, giving my shoulder a pat and asking with a grin. Nah, gotta wrap up some business with the little ones.
じゃあこいつらのことが終わったら来てくれるか?
Liang becoming a rebel. It's actually a very interesting idea. Though, like Liang said himself, he didn't experience the oppression and the famine, drought, etc. All the things that the rebels are fighting for firsthand. So it's hard for him to really sympathize as much. But he does have his own values, his own moral code, and he do seem to align with the rebels a bit. So it'd be very interesting to see Rebel Liang. I wonder if that might be what he does at the end. Probably not. I told him straight. After all, even being a bandit is safer than fighting as a rebel.
はあ、それほどの腕前でオイラたちと組まねえのは実にもったいねえな。
I think it's possible. He might find something more valuable than just living as a bandit, so he might end up joining the rebels. That'd be really cool, since at the very least they seem like a pretty cool bunch of people.
いつか気が変わってオイラたちが官兵に滅ぼされていなかったらいつでも来るがいい。
He looked a bit sad, letting out a long sigh and shaking his head. Easy for you to say, but how will I find you when the time comes? I asked casually.
簡単だ。反乱を起こした軍隊を探して片っ端からオイラの名を伝えればいい。ずっと聞いていればいつかは見つかる。
I'm looking for Lee. Do you know how little that narrows it down? What's your full name anyway? Suddenly realizing I didn't even know his full name after all this time.
Lee Chinshou.
Dashing General Lee. Dashing. Sorry. I thought that was a freaking name. Dashing. Dashing General Lee. Is that what it said here? Daring leader. No, not dashing leader. Dashing General Lee? I repeated the name silently. It's news to me, but honestly, I didn't pay much attention to the names of rebels.
オイラは高鎮王の手下として反乱を起こしたんだ。彼が鎮王、オイラが鎮将。
Ah, okay. Under Gao's lead. I wonder if these are real people. I actually would not know because my history is terrible.
義勇軍に出くわしたら鎮将の名を伝えてオイラを探すがいい。
That's right, just mentioned the dashing general.
暴れるぞ！オイラたちと一緒に暴れ回るのだ！官兵どもを叩き潰せ！悪徳管理どもを土下座させるのだ！
Make them beg for mercy! He chuckled confidently, striking a heroic stance. Got it. I nodded and led the pack horse, heading towards Haito with the lambs. After a while, I glanced at the rebel soldiers lined up in the distance. A flag fluttered in the wind, pole shining silver, and crimson flag looking like it was soaked in blood. I seemed to have seen it yesterday. There wasn't much wind yesterday, so I didn't see what the pattern on the flag was, but at first I thought it would have had the Lee character because most generals would put their last name on the flag. But today, I realized it wasn't Lee, but it was the big Chuang character instead. Don't know what that means. Chuang. Dash. Oh, there we go. The dashing general. The rebel general looking to dash forward and break through the world. Suits him well. By the end, still didn't know why he, with his northern Shan accent, led his crew through Jin, heading north. And he didn't know if I was really a human trafficker or where these lambs were going. Liang, Chapter 13, Wolf and Liang. And? Oh. Okay, interesting. Now it's been like 3 days, so we should almost be there, I think. The dashing general showed us the way. We followed it for 6 hours until we reached the main road near Haito. Here we also have another potentially bad ending here. Chapter locked. Wait, what? What if I click yes? Okay, I can't. I was like, why did they give me the option to click yes? But yeah, it seems like we have another potential bad end. I assume it's bad end. We followed it for 6 hours until we reached the main road near Haito. After a quick rest and some rations by the roadside, we resumed our journey in the afternoon. Another hour later, we finally arrive at Haito. But this time, something was off. The city gate was shut tight. The tall walls and shut gates sealed off Haito, keeping everyone out. Below the wall sat a beggar in tattered clothes, while guards watched from above, their faces hidden. We spotted them. They spotted us too.
今日は城門は開かん。引き返せ。
Will it be open tomorrow? I don't freaking know. The guard shouted down from the city gate. Why's that? I yelled, asking the guard up on the gate tower.
上からの命令だ。俺にもわからん。
I don't know. When's the gate opening?
知らん。
The guard yelled impatiently. I glanced at the beggar below, who was chuckling at us, likely seen this before many times.
竜様が会う人は廃州城にいるのですか？
Yeah, saw her once about 2 years back in Huato. Said she was heading back to
じ
Haito.
ゃあこれからどうしますか？
We have to camp out the gate? No idea. I stared at the gate, a shut city gate, unsure of what to do next. Should we turn back to Shenzhou and figure things out from there? Or should we take the longer route to Yangcheng along the main road? Neither options feels right. Apart from my friend in Haizhou, I couldn't think of anyone else who might buy lambs for me right now. Besides, going back to Shenzhou would be a hassle. I don't know the way to Yangcheng very well. Damn, this isn't good.
旦那様、待っても無駄ですぜ。城門は2日も閉じて誰も入れません。
And shut for 2 days with a TBD open date.
何か食べ物を。そしたら門が閉じてるわけを教えて、いい道を案内して差し上げましょう。
The beggar by the gates only spoke up. I glanced his way. I guess there aren't many options right now. He's been sitting there for a while, seen plenty come and go, might have some answers. I walked up to the pack horse and grabbed a piece of ration. Let's hear it. I handed the ration to the beggar. He eyed me suspiciously at first, then grinned and took the
あ
offering.
りがとうございます。お話ししましょう。真の地の北に逆賊がいることをご存知ですか？
God damn it, we were just there. Yeah?
北には逆賊がいる。朝廷は多くの兵を派遣したが退治できないままなんです。そいつらがもうすぐ北から攻めてくると聞きました。付近の町は危険にさらされ、お上も恐れてここ数日は
Oh.
海州の城門も閉じさせているんです。
So this is partially because of the rebels. I pondered the beggar's words quietly. What he said probably holds true. Gates aren't usually shut during the day unless they're enemy forces. This is the southern border of Jin. Those barbarians from the border aren't likely to barge in. That means it's likely the rebels already made their way into Jin, and that's why they closed the gate. But he probably doesn't know everything. General Lee's gang, they're from the Shan region originally, headed north. So ain't rebels from up north heading south, it's rebels from Shan sneaking into Jin, going north. Why were they going north though? Maybe to join forces with the government army? That's a mighty bold move, risking it all like that. Nothing you're saying is surprising. I not only know, but probably know more than you. Is there anything fresher? Asked the beggar coldly.
旦那は知ってたんですか？じゃあなぜさっきは守衛に聞いたんですか？
Just want to double check. Never mind. Let's cut to the chase. What's the solution you're talking
は
about?
い、いい道ってのは ここから東南に向かって2000歩ほど行くと川に面した小さな山が見えます。
It's another probably identical inn.
ふもとに宿屋があるんです。娘たちはその宿屋に連れて行くといい。聞いた話ではそこの主人が廃修場に入る方法を知っているそうで。
Any chance that innkeeper is the person we're trying to find? Alright, let's go check it out. They got the information from the beggar, then got the pack horse ready and moved on with the lambs. An inn at the foot of the hill with a canny owner? Well, that sounds pretty intriguing. Oh, that looks pretty nice. Cool. After about half an hour, we got to the inn. Just like the beggar said, it's at the foot of the hill. Before he came, I thought it'd be crowded with people who couldn't get into Haito, but it's way quieter than I thought. With the cloudy day, the dark clouds over the top of the inn gave an eerie feeling, not helped by the inn's doors and the windows being closed. Same exact entrance! I took the lambs into the inn. They stayed close together, walking carefully.
竜様、この宿屋は暗すぎます。
んだ、竜様、この宿屋はどうもおかしい。幽霊がいるみたいだ。やめとくだ。
We don't have any choice!
お姉ちゃん、幽霊って？
It's better if you don't know.
幽霊って言うな。縁起が悪い。とにかく口にするのも見るのもダメだ。
スイ姉さん、幽霊って何？動く死人のことよ。見えるけど触れない。
Oh no, Monty spilled the
人の
beans.
命を奪うの。
No. Now Kiyora's gonna be scared all the time. No.
スイ姉さん、何言ってるの？
What are you
そんなこと言っちゃダ
doing?
メだ。
The lambs start chattering, getting all riled up. Quiet. I sternly hushed their talk. Don't scare yourself, silly. It's daytime. Where's a ghost gonna come from? I'm here. My blade's here. What's there to fear? I calmed the lamb and moved forward, blade in hand. I've killed many people, seen my share of bodies, but never seen a ghost. No need to worry. Hey, anybody in here? I shouted as I entered the inn. Anybody in here? I raised my voice and shouted again.
Hey!
Finally, after the second shout, I heard a response. Waiter came down from upstairs.
いらっしゃいませ。おや、娘さんたちをお連れですか。どうぞどうぞ。
I don't remember if I've seen this model portrait before. I think this is the same as the one that we saw in the area where we killed I forgot, it's hard. Where we killed Tong. Forgot what the area was called. Sanzo? I think it was Sanzo. When the waiter saw us, he warmly welcomed us. He gestured us to take a seat. See? No ghosts around
お
here.
客さん、お茶はどうしましょう。流星、高級、それともショーラ？
Just water, please.
大丈夫です。お持ちします。お泊まりのお客さんはお茶代はいただきません。
Alright, pour some then. By the way, why is it so empty here?
今は閑散期で、もともとお客は少ないんです。
I was thinking the same thing as Liang was thinking, where it's like, man, the gates are closed. You'd expect that a nearby inn would have a decent number of people, right? It's not. Haven't you heard? Haito is locked down.
知ってます。もちろん知ってます。ここにはね、廃修場に入れない客がいて、みんな2階に泊まってるんです。
Really? I glanced upstairs skeptically. Actually, I didn't seem to hear any guests. What food does the inn have for dinner?
宿屋には余分な食料がなくて、乏しい食事になるかもしれません。でも、旦那に金さえあれば、酒や肉を買うことはできます。
He says, okay, what meat? How much?
豚肉3切れ、5000銀です。
Half a tail? Why so much? How much for one night?
1両銀。ああ、娘さんの分は追加です。大部屋で1両5000になります。
Hold up. Half a tail, so 3 pieces of pork is equal to 1 room for a night. Or half a room for a night. 1.5 tails for a night? You're ripping us off like this?
いえ、そんなことは。今は景気も悪くて値段も自然と高くなるんです。
That's too steep for me. We won't stay
な
here.
お客さん、考え直してくださいよ。もう夜も遅いし、50里四方に宿屋はありません。それに、泊まらないお客は、流星茶の代金として、1両銭をいただきます。
Starting to feel like a real scam. I sneered and got up, planning to take the lambs and leave. Seems like that beggar's directions weren't any good. He was just trying to trick us into this shady place. This place is probably a rip-off joint, taking advantage of the lockdown in Haizhou to make a killing. So there probably aren't any guests upstairs. Even if there are, they're likely keeping quiet, just taking the hit. Yep. Ghosts are rare, but people's hearts? Now that's a different story. They're the really spooky ones. Same in peacetime, worse in chaos. Alright, time to whip out the sword. Just as I was about to lead the lambs out the door, a fierce-looking and burly man burst out from the kitchen. I paid him no mind, motioned to the lambs and turned, leading their way towards the inn's entrance. He came charging at me with his rolling pin. What a joke. Just yesterday, I sparred with a dashing general. Plus, I had my blade at hand. This guy didn't worry me. No need to look back. I could hear his footsteps on the creaking floorboards. Heavy thuds followed his strides. 3 steps. 2 steps. 1 step. Here he comes. As the burly man closed in behind me, I spun around fast. With a quick spin and a swift move, I smoothly sidestepped him. He was about to charge at me, but his balance wasn't steady, leaning too far forward. Seizing his arm, I took advantage of his momentum, slamming him into the nearby wooden table. Crack! His head and torso thudded onto the table, nearly breaking it. I gripped his arm tightly and swiftly forced him backwards on the table with a sudden push. At the same time, I whipped out the knife with my left hand, yanked it 3 inches from his sheath, and pressed the blade against the back of his neck. Try anything, and you're done. I stared down at the strong-armed thug and said coldly, I'm fine with this inn getting bloody. After all, I've seen a blood-covered inn just a few days ago. Shit, man, that's fucking cold, and I did it myself. That burly man, pinned down by me with the blade at his neck, instantly backed down, quietly pleading for mercy. The waiter, scared stiff, didn't dare get in close. He completely lost his earlier tough act. Just as I was pondering what to do with them, a clear female voice rang in my ear. A lady slowly descended the inn's stairs. Oh, she's probably the manager of this inn then. As she walked, her fingers trailed along the railing. She appeared to be in her 20s, her updo indicating that she was... Wait, updo? Is that... I didn't know... I've never seen that word before. Her updo indicating that she was married. She wore a light purple gown with a pale blue sash around her waist, giving an elegant and subdued impression. Familiar? Is this the girl he was looking for? Does that mean he doesn't have to go to the city? Huh. With a glance, I immediately recognized her. She was... Kite. Before I could say her name, she beat me to it, calling out mine. She looked at me in surprise, standing there stunned, all her usual calm gone. Her name was Yuan, meaning kite. Perhaps her parents meant for her to fly high and have a fortuitous life, but she resembled her namesake more in having the perceptiveness of a bird of prey. She was the one I was searching for. Oh wow, what a coincidence! We got scammed in the right direction. Funny how things turned out. I didn't make it to Haizhou, but here she is in this rip-off joint. I looked at Kite, recalling what I knew about her. Kite. I met her 5 years back. After the TNT explosion, lots of homeless people returned to their hometowns. I planned to head southeast but got mixed up and ended up following a group heading southwest. I traveled with them for a while, passing through a county near Anyang, where there was trouble brewing. 2 brothers there said the magistrate had messed up a case, covering for a local landlord. The landlord took over the land, but because he was tight with the magistrate rewarded the land to him. The 2 brothers got mad, got drunk, and decided to play bandit, aiming to raid the landlord's grain one night. Some refugees heard about it and agreed to join them in the robbery. They talked about justice, but really, they were just after their own gain. They'd been starving for days, didn't care about anything about upholding justice or assisting the poor. They just wanted to snatch some grain, and the brother stepped up, giving them an excuse. How do I know? He was one of them. Yeah, but because I was one of them. I had been hungry too long, just wanted a decent, fulfilling meal. So I tagged along to grab some food too. One night, we followed the brothers. We waited the landlord's place, climbed his wall with a wooden ladder, and snuck inside. Found the grain stashed fast, knocked out the servants guarding it, and grabbed a sack each before making a run for it. Should have ended there. Turned out, things didn't go as planned. Those brothers, they nabbed the grain but couldn't resist heading to the landlord's room to rough him up. And among our group, some had their eyes on the landlord's woman, thinking they could take advantage of them. As I tried to split with the grain, I saw that they offed the landlord and his wife. Oh fuck, they straight up shanked them. They were busy abusing the landlord's concubine, messing with the servant. Oh god, I tried to talk sense but nobody listened. I didn't want to get involved because I was worried that the official soldiers would come looking, wanted to just split with the grain. Then I heard someone shout from far off, saying they found the landlord's daughter hiding in a room. For some reason, maybe curiosity, maybe something else. I hesitated for a second before leaving. I ran with two others towards the voice, planning to take a look. We stormed into the room and caught a guy trying to force himself on a woman, tearing at her clothes. I hadn't planned on stepping in, but her screams and his disgusting laughter made me sick. I couldn't take it anymore. Instead of just talking, I dropped the grain, grabbed my blade, and charged at the guy, cutting him down with one swift stroke. The people who came with me got scared by my sudden move and bolted out the door, probably to tell the others about my betrayal. Me? To dodge any retaliation from my erstwhile accomplices, I grabbed the woman and made a run for it. Soon enough, the constable showed up and found us. Thinking I was just a servant, they let me off the hook. At our direction, they stormed the landlord's place. Most of the crooks couldn't escape and got caught on the spot. Meanwhile, with the woman's help, I slipped out of town, heading west. Ah, that's a pretty interesting history. Kite was the woman, and the landlord's daughter. After that, I thought I'd never see her again. She just thanked me for saving her, didn't ask why I was with those crooks raiding her house. And she never brought it up later. 2 years back, I bumped into her again in Shanzhou. I was looking to sell some stuff at a pawn shop and turned out that she was a boss there. Oh, she was a boss at the pawn shop. It took her a second to recognize me, then she invited me to the back for tea. She told me that after the mess 3 years ago, her family was left with just a few servants and their business tanked. The marriage they had lined up fell apart because of it. So she got her kin to set up a new marriage, ended up marrying into a wealthy family in Shanzhou, only to find out that the guy ran a dodgy pawn shop. Her husband kicked the bucket soon after they tied the knot, leaving her running the pawn shop solo. By chance, we met again and finally learned each other's names. I stayed in Shanzhou for a few months and often dropped by to see her. But our connection didn't stop there. I even came looking for her to help with these lamps. And now here we are, bumping into each other once more at the inn near Haizhou. Oh, I guess her pawn shop business worked out well enough for her to make an inn.
前に会ったのは2年前だったわね。2年前、私が泉州にいた頃、あなたが盗品を売りに来た。
Kite came down the inn stairs, smiling at me.
私は泉の地は危ないから真の地に避難すると言ったのに、あなたはどうしてここが分かったの？
Maybe you forgot, but back then you clearly said you wanted to go to Haizhou, so I came here to find you. Didn't expect that I'd bump into you at this dodgy pawn shop last time, and at a dodgy inn this time. How come the places you run are always so dodgy?
こんなご時世でまともな商売なんてできないでしょ？
Oh man, in a way we're also pawning off some women. Which sounds really bad, but that's technically what we're doing. She giggled, briefly covering her face, but soon her expression turned serious.
りょう、あなたがわけもないのに動く人間じゃないのは分かってる。はっきり言って。今回は私に何の用？なぜわざわざ廃修場まで来たの？
For them, I told her, glancing at the girls nearby.
女の子ばかり。私にはまともな商売をしないというくせに、自分こそ人売りじゃないの？
Kinda. Well, not exactly. For a moment, I didn't know how to tell Kite about all that had happened. Wasn't right with these lambs listening. and didn't feel right with everyone else in in hearing. Kite caught on to what I was getting at.
少長、老牛、厨房で娘たちに何か食べさせてやりな。私は寮の旦那と話が。
This is really interesting. I like the fact that he has history, and I mean, it's really weird that they end up meeting because of, well, Liang being a bandit. But he ended up sticking with his morals again, saving her, and now it's like basically, I don't want to say you should do good deeds to expect something in return, but he is getting something in return for saving her now, so it's kind of nice.
はいよ、おかみさん。
おう
After Kite spoke, the waiter and the burly man led the girls to the kitchen. Monsui eyed Kite warily. Xianghua and the other lambs looked uneasy too. I mean, not long ago, I almost got into it with the tough guy called Iron Bull, and now I'm chatting it up with his boss. It's definitely a bit strange. Don't worry, it was all a mix-up. She's the one I was planning to bring you all to meet in the city. Someone trustworthy. I introduced Kite to the lambs.
両様が会おうとしてたんはここの主だったんか。
Ah, so you're the one we were looking for.
両様が会う人って女の人だったのね。
Monsui was like, yare, yare.
ああ、
Oh.
女の人ね。
The lambs chimed in with their own reactions. What caught me off guard was how they seemed more shocked that the person I was seeking was a woman than the fact that I was looking for an owner of a shady inn. Alright, you girls head into the kitchen now. I'll be there soon. I waved them off, urging the lambs to hurry.
行きましょう。両様の再会を邪魔しちゃ悪いもん。
Dude, why does she's acting like a tsundere now? Monsui directed the other lambs towards the kitchen and muttered something under her breath, sounding a bit strange. What's up with the mysterious lass?
寮、この子たちと仲がいいのね。確かに人売りじゃなさそうだわ。
It's a really long story. Kite glanced at the reaction to the lambs and teased me. It's a long story. I sighed, planning to start from scratch and explain everything. I wonder if this woman knows tongue, because it seems like from the interactions, it was mainly a one-on-one interaction, tongue not involved. I told Kite about what went down in the last 20 days. Damn, it's been 3 weeks now. About 20 days back, Tung and I got roped into an escort job by Yin Tan. Yin Tan pulled a fast one on us, making us think that we were delivering a few lambs to a rich family to raise as their own. It wasn't until later that we learned that those lambs were bound for Luoyang, where some powerful buyer would play with them until they died, or eat them alive. Tung and I had a big fight over it. I didn't want those lambs to end up dead and want out of the job. Tung insisted on carrying on, lied to me to saying that he'd cooperate. Things got heated passing through Sanzhou. I ended up taking him out, burying him before heading to Taizhou. That was what happened, yes.
本当に自分の相棒をやっちまったのか。
I wouldn't say buddy. Yep, had to. No way we'd both make it here. We're at a stalemate. Had to be done.
落葉の飼い主って誰なんだい？
Can't say. Won't help you any.
まあいい。なら知らないでおく
It's
わ
like。the more you know, the more danger you'll be in. Trust me, the moment I found out, my world changed.
すると、今はあなたの人売りの仕事を終わらせて、女の子をみんな売り飛ばしたいと？
Yeah, trying to find a way to sell them off. Going rate from a few years back, 100 taels of silver each. She looked a bit conflicted. What's up? Can't find a way? I frowned, asking.
見つからないわけじゃない。でも今は100両じゃ売れないわよ。毎年の大災害で西北の食料価格は 2,3 倍に跳ね上がった。人売りも前ほど儲からない。今は50両で売るのも難しい。
Tongue from the grave is like, that's why this was a good deal. We would have gotten way more money. Impossible. Tongue said the buyer from Luoyang was willing to pay 2,000 taels just for 4 of the lambs.
じゃあなぜその飼い主が女の子をどうするか話さないの？いくらで売れるかによって少女の送り先が決まる。 闇の遊郭に売れば一人100両かもしれない。でも多分長くは生きられない。生きていても死んだ方がマシなくらいよ。
Wow. Kite is... Wow, she's actually thinking like forward. She's like, okay, so this is the amount of money that I can sell them for. It's like, wait, that's way below market rate. And she's like, yes, you can sell them for higher, but it goes against your morals. If you sell them for higher, I can find places, but they will not have a long lifespan because they'll be abused, they'll be used, and it won't be good.
金持ちの言い名付けにするなら一人50両で売れるわよ。
I guess child brides is better because, well, better than a brothel because at the very least they'll be treated by, they'll have some, what's the right word? I don't, honestly, everything's kind of shit. I actually don't know what's better or not.
金持ちの嫁になるのは運次第ね。いい人に出くわせば幸せになれるかもしれないが、悪い人に出くわせば
Whoops.
運を天に任せるしかなくなる。
You only have these two options? The brothel or child brides?
そうよ。こんな世の中で金を稼ぐにはその2つの方法しかない。
I looked down. Selling them to the brothel was out of the question. Selling them off as child brides could work. He's willing to gamble on the fact that they could have a better life, because choosing the one that would reward him with more money will basically reward the girls with the worst life. But is that really the right thing to do?
りょう、あの子たちを売り渡したくないのならいい方法がある。
Can they work here? Can you just take them? What's that? Kite suddenly suggested, grabbing my attention.
ここは人手が足りないの。あの姉妹を一人5両で私に売るといいわ。
Ah, she'll take the sisters.
他の2人の子はあなたが自分でどうにかする。誰か紹介してあげてもいいけど。
Only 5 tails? She's like, well, I'm gonna have to feed them, shelter them, and all this other stuff. I looked at Kite, finding the price too low.
うん。食事や寝泊まりの世話もあるし、あの子たちにできることもあまりない。5両ならいい値段よ。
Kite explained slowly. I lowered my head in silence, biting my lower lip in thought. I trust Kite. She'd take good care of Honger and Queer. Maybe I could figure something out for Xianghua and Mansui later. But just 10 tails for all of this? And who knows if I'll even have any left after sorting everything out. I've been looking after them for so long, risking everything. Getting rid of Tang, ditching Yinsan's job, getting into all sorts of trouble along the way. I was planning to grab some money, head south, and carve out a peaceful life from this chaotic world. Now, oh, there's a typo, there's an extra space here. And now, I'm supposed to give up all my earnings, or even lose money just so they can have a better life? What kind of deal is that? Am I really gonna have to give up my own peace to ensure they're okay? Being this good isn't my usual style. I'm a wolf, ready to do anything to survive. Just keeping them alive is enough. Is it really worth being a good total do-gooder? Oh, that's where this is gonna be.
りょう、この乱世では善には代償がつきものよ。
Jeez. Damn, she's right.
高値で売り飛ばすのか、善人のままでいるのか、どっちを選ぶ？
Kite's words hung up in the air. After some inner struggle, I finally had my answer. Ooh. I'm gonna do sell for a good price. I feel like this is the bad ending. Because clearly this goes against... It lines with Liang's morals, but this one is a lot better. Sell for a good price. Better to sell them for a good price. After some thinking, I made up my mind and told Kite what I decided. I did my best to rescue them from doom. Now with my own neck on the line, I'll take what I can get.
いいわ。そう考えるなら話をつけてあげる。この4匹の子羊を言い名付けとして売る。あなたの取り分は合わせて200両。
Hold on, I only sell 3 of them.
あら、どの子を売らないの？
The one named Mansui. I'll hold on to her for now. The last wants to go to Loyan, has her own plans. I reckon I'll tag along. If she's set on her plan, won't be stopping her. Selling her off for a decent price suits me fine. If she flips at the last moment, I'll figure out another way to sell her. I pondered for a moment, then spoke. When I mentioned what Mansui wants to do, I meant selling her to the contract of Yinsan's in Loyan. I made up my mind. If she insists on going after the swine demon, I might as well indulge her and sell her to him. I'm not sure if I'll still get paid after losing 3 of the lambs, but I know that these lambs aren't from a reputable source, and they aren't worth much. Even if I can only deliver 1, I doubt I'll take a loss. However, there's one more thing to think about. If she goes on ahead and tries to kill that swine demon, I'll be in hot water no matter what. Sending her there will only land me in trouble. No matter what, once I sell her in Loyan, I've got to hightail it to the south as fast as I can. Alright, I won't dwell on it too much. I'll just send her to Loyan for now. You probably won't dare to go after that swine demon. Chances are we'll use Loyan as a stopover, get prepared, then head further south. Along the way, I'll find an opportunity to sell her. Oh. After sharing my thoughts with Kite, I headed back to my room. I paced around, feeling restless. Then I sat on my bed, feeling numb. In a daze, I sat on my bed, not knowing what to think. I wanted to think about the past, to remember the times with the lambs. I wanted to plan for the future, but guilt clouded my thoughts. In the end, I just sat there, lost in a mix of emotions. Never mind. Was there another line that showed up? No, it was just ... This is a messed up world. Thinking about the past and the future won't help. Just focus on the present. Right here, right now. I've got to keep myself alive. Make it through longer. Make it through better. Sitting alone in the room until nightfall, suddenly I heard 2 cautious knocks on the door. The person knocking was careful. The sound was light, as if tiptoeing. Who's there? I asked the person knocking on the door. It's gonna be Mansui. No! The voice outside the door replied quietly. I recognized Qionghua's voice. Qionghua, what's up? Why are you knocking? I inquired Qiionghua outside the door.
別に、亮様がお腹が空いていないかどうか聞きたかっただけです。店の小僧さんから、亮様がご飯を食べに来なかったと聞いて、食べるものを用意しました。
It's dinner, but it's frickin' bright outside. Okay, just leave it by the door. I'll grab it later.
わかりました。じゃあ、ここに置いておきますね。
Oh, Monster's there
亮
too.
様、
Oh, all the
熱いう
girls
ち
are
に食べ
there.
ろ。冷めっから。
Aw, he's gonna see that, like, the girls care for him, so it's gonna break him to know that he's just selling them.
熱いうちに食べて。
I heard the others outside the door. They're probably all there. After they left, I finally pushed open the wooden door. I glanced at the wooden tray on the floor. In it were 3 bowls and a pair of chopsticks. The bowls contained 3 dishes: egg drop soup with wild vegetables. I love egg drop soup. Garlic stir fried pork, and sauteed cabbage. It must be the lamb's cooking. While Kite and I were sorting out things in the lobby, they must have headed to the kitchen and whipped up these 3 dishes. Fair enough. Let's give them a try. I took the tray and sat on the inn's bed. With the tray on my lap, I rolled up my sleeves, grabbed the chopsticks, and picked up a piece of cabbage. I ate the cabbage. It was cooked perfectly, not too crunchy, not too soft. But when I tasted it, all I felt was bitterness in my mouth. Nothing tasted good. Still hungry. I kept on eating, shoving the food made by the lambs into my mouth without tasting it. Mouthful, I forgot to swallow. Before I knew it, tears welled up in my eyes. They cooked really well. I muttered with a mouthful of food. This here's the first and last meal they cooked for me. I guess they all pitched in, trying to thank me for looking after them all this time. But this meal didn't change the plans I'd already set. I can keep them alive, keep them from being sold off to some wretched place. But besides that, I've got to make enough money. They're heading to be sold as child brides, and as for who they're sold to, well, that's up to fate. Looking out for yourself isn't a sin. I'm a wolf. Nothing's wrong with living for myself. Damn. I woke up really early in the morning. After I had finished washing up and changing my clothes, I heard the sound of a rooster crowing in the distance. I walked up to the door of the lamb's room and opened it. They were all fast asleep, lying sprawled out on the bed. I watched for a while, then walked up to Mansui and patted her to wake up.
竜様
Oh,
こん
one
な
eye
早く
closed and
に
one eye
どうして
open. I don't think I've seen this portrait of her yet. We're leaving. Pack your things quickly. We're going to Luoyang.
いつ
Now! After Mansui packed up her things, we headed out and went downstairs and found Kite. Kite gave me the agreed on silver pieces, and I put them all in a bag. She then told us the station's location and said that she had already given them a heads up that we could get on the carriage when we arrived. She asked me again if I were in such a hurry to go since the carriage at the station wouldn't leave until noon, and there was no need to rush. I said that I wanted to get to the station as soon as possible, so I grabbed Mansui and the set off. Truth be told, there was indeed no need to rush. However, I was trying to avoid things. I was trying to avoid seeing those 3 lambs again. I didn't want to explain to them where Mansui and I were going and where they would be going later. I wanted nothing but to leave as soon as possible while they were still asleep. After a half-mile's walk, we arrived in the station Kite mentioned. These stations were usually for official use only and not available for us commoners. We were only allowed to rent out ox carts. However, in recent years, there have also been constant disasters and situations has worsened. The stations have also become increasingly chaotic, with many of their personnel taking on private personnel. After Kite greased some of our palms, we were allowed to hide in one of the cargo wagons heading to Luoyang. Oh, we're going to the endgame now. After a quick chat with the wagon driver, we got on the wagon. The wagon was packed with salt sacks, likely from nearby salt pits by Haizhou. Mansui and I nestled amongst the sacks. I sat on the more spacious side while she sat on the other. We were in a rush, and I was too lazy to speak, so we didn't talk along the way. At this moment, as things finally calmed down, we started
竜
chatting.
様どうしてこんなに急いで落葉へ行くんですか
Mansui asked me, looking a bit puzzled. Can't waste any more time. Felt uneasy about dawdling all around, so I figured it was best to set off early. I didn't tell her the truth.
みんなこれからどうなるんですか
Mansui urgently asked while slightly furrowing her brow. The them she asked was definitely referring to Hunger, Queer, and Qianghua. She probably saw me receiving those silver pieces from Kite just now. That must have made her worried about where the other 3 lambs were going. None of her business. I get paid, and they don't get to live a life worse than death. It's already a good enough outcome in today's world. I responded to her coldly, then simply held on to my blade, saying nothing more. Mansui saw that I didn't really want to talk to her, so she stopped talking to me for a long while as well. After about an instant of time, she asked me another
竜
question.
様前に落葉に行ったことはあるのですか私は幼い頃お父さんに連れられて落葉に行ったことがありました
You said you were from Luoyang
落
though.
葉には川があったことを覚えています前に行った町にはあまり川がなくて
Pretty sure this is gonna be a bad end because the mood. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's not a bad end. It's just we didn't die. Huh. Yeah. Or at least not yet. I'm not sure. But yeah, I did get that choice. Mansui kept talking to herself, and I didn't respond to her. She kept talking, but probably found it dull to speak alone, so she rested her head on a sack of salt and began to nod off. I heard the wagon driver crack his whip, the horse's hooves clopping on the dirt road, and the carriage bumping along as it continued its way forward. I took a sip from my water jug and leaned against the tiny window on the cargo hold, watching the scenery outside. The scenery kept flickering out outside the wagon, fluctuating up and down with the bumps of the wagon. Watching the rapidly changing landscape, I began to feel drowsy. In 2 days, we'd be in Luoyang City. What should Mansui and I do next? I thought if she was willing to visit the Swine Demon, it'd be easier if I just brought her to the Swine Demon's palace. After arriving in Luoyang, I needed to find the person who dealt with Tung back then, see if I could negotiate some money after handing her over to that person, then flee to the south immediately. Looking back, this whole thing was quite complicated. I started out as their escort, but when I couldn't bear leave them in a bad situation, I murdered my former partner I worked with for years to save them. This won't go unpunished. I'll have no choice but to head south once I send off Mansui. This is wrapping up. It's like going back through his memories and all the things he has to do. But unfortunately, the money I earned was probably worth the risk. Those 3 lambs earned me 50 taels each, totaling 150 taels. I wasn't sure how many taels I could sell Mansui for to the Swine Demon's people, but it must be more than 50 taels. And if those people were to dig into who's to blame for the lost lambs, I could also give her away for free to ensure my safety. Anyway, I'll just improvise when the time comes. With a lot on my mind, the sleepiness crept in. My upper and lower eyelids started a tussle, going on for about a dozen rounds. Then I tipped my head back, then forward, and finally shut my eyes. The darkness quickly pulled my consciousness into a slumber. Not long after, I fell asleep, and my consciousness also slipped into a dream. Heavy rain poured down in torrents. The sound of rain was like the continuous stream. It was as if the sky had split open, and raindrops cascaded down like beads from the sky. It had been a long time since I'd seen such a rain. Oh right, rain was rare, it was a drought. I was standing on the streets in Luoyang, wearing a straw hat, raincoat, and a bamboo hat. This place should have been bustling, but now it's deserted due to the rain. I walked forward aimlessly, trying to find a place to stay, but came across a strange sight. The sides of the road were littered with corpses, all of which were people I had killed. Most had their throats slit, some were missing limbs, and a few were cleaved in half, their deaths gruesome beyond imagination. They were mostly men, and their eyes and mouths were half open, crawling, pleading, crying in my direction. Damn, they're getting up, they're zombies! Their face, once forgotten, were now vivid in my memory. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30. Again, the ghosts are real! Oh, look at the bottom one, shit. There were so many of them. Their final breaths were long overdue, but hushed whispers still escaped their mouths. I could vaguely catch their words. They were cursing me, wishing for my demise. So annoying. So damn annoying! I hastened my pace, dashing through the rain, desperate to leave those people behind and never see them again. During the 2 years when I was fleeing from the famine, I killed people because I had no other choice. For each life I took, I saved another. Sometimes I had to kill people to save my own life. During the years when I was a bandit, I had also killed people because I had no choice. What else could a homeless man like me do? What else was I supposed to do besides banditry to survive? Now I had money, and Tung was dead. I no longer needed to rob travelers and kill people. I'll be a good person from now on. I'll definitely be a good person. I kept repeating that in my mind, my steps getting faster and faster. Finally, I shook off the people I had killed. Whoosh. A soft breeze passed by, causing me to pause in my tracks. The sky remained dark, as if the entire sky was on the verge of collapsing, ready to crush the entire city. However, the rain stopped. The instant the rain stopped, I shook off those people. I saw a familiar figure. Mansui's there. At the far end of the road stood a slender figure. Mansui. Mansui was standing at the far off end of the street in Luoyang with her back towards me. She was standing on the street just after it had rained. The pavement reflected her figure like a bronze mirror, making her look as though she was standing in a river. Though she wasn't carrying an umbrella, she appeared immaculate, as if not a droplet of rain touched her clothes. Hey, little brat! I quickly took a few steps forward, trying to approach her. Regardless, the appearance of the little brat still put me at ease. I got closer and reached out to pat her shoulder. However, as soon as my hand made contact with her, she reacted in a way that surprised me. She abruptly turned around, her eyes filled with the chilling intent to kill. She drew a blade from her sleeve and lunged forward, thrusting it towards me. Ugh. I couldn't dodge it this time. Something clung onto my feet. A mass of black mist was wrapped around my feet. Within it were the hands of those I'd killed. I froze. I could only watch as her blade pierced my neck, unable to do anything. The dream shattered in that moment. The Lonyang city and the oppressive black clouds collapsed, shattering and disintegrated in an instant. The scene shifted rapidly, yet she remained unchanged. Oh, is he gonna wake up now? Oh! I woke up from the dream and was still inside the carriage. Monty was still there, and the blade was stuck in my neck. The blade split my throat in two, right down the middle of my Adam's apple, piercing through my entire neck. Blood dripped down from the tip of the blade, and a warm stream flowed down the side of my throat. I lowered my eyes and saw a gaze filled with murderous intent, yet brimming with tears. Eyes teary, teeth gritted. She forcefully drove the blade deeper and deeper into my neck. Damn. Ah. She ended up killing him, even though he was going to help her get to the swine demon. In that case, I think it means that she was going to kill him all along, but she was delaying it because she kept assisting her, doing good. Like, not just her, but all the other children. But after seeing that he sold the children, she didn't trust him anymore, I think. I think she might already know that he killed her father. I'll have to keep going. What happened? The dream just now just turned into reality. I looked at her in disbelief. I wanted to know why, but I couldn't make any noise.
りょう、お前は変わってくれると信じてた。でも、何も変わらなかった。お前
Oh.
に同情するところだった。そんな昔の自分が憎い。
Tears flowed from her
お
eyes.
父さんを殺し、
Yeah.
私の家族を破滅させた。それだけじゃない。他にも大勢の人を殺めてきただろう。
Ah, this confirms it. So she knew that he killed her father. Now that begs the... Huh. I guess... I don't know... Because, like... So my thought process is the swine demon was still an enemy for her, but because she said she was responsible for killing her family. But after piecing together that Liang is responsible for basically, you know, killing her father, which resulted in the death of her other family, probably due to lack of resources, food, maybe even other things. It means that she doesn't actually intend to go to the swine demon, right? Because the swine demon isn't her enemy, it's Liang. But maybe she just said that she wanted to kill the swine demon in order to make it so that she can separate herself from the other people, so she can continue traveling with Liang and basically see if he's atoned for all of his sins. Because here she's saying, I thought you changed, but I almost feel sorry for feeling sorry for you. I almost regret feeling sorry for you. But seeing how you just sold those girls for your own personal benefit, and you're probably going to do the same to me, it shows that you're still a greedy bastard who doesn't deserve to live. If we were willing to accept the lower amount, she'd probably still be like, you're doing this for the good of the girls. I will probably continue to spare you. So damn. This just confirms everything.
りょう、よく見て。目をしっかり開けてよく見て。私こそが復讐のためにお前を騙し続け、最後にとどめを刺すものだ。
Person who deceived you all along. So that means she planned this from the start. I wonder why she went to Yin-san. That means she must have done a lot of research. She went to Yin-san's place basically as merchandise, knowing that Yin-san would work with Tung, who would bring along Liang. Wow. What? She snarled angrily, her body jolting with the carriage's movement. With the blade in one hand, she forcefully pushed it forward with the other. She pressed her weight against me and stabbed the blade even deeper in my neck. Blood gushed from my mouth and neck and kept splattering onto her, staining her hair and her clothes red. I opened my eyes wide like she asked, staring at her with confusion and fear. No answers. Little brat. Wasn't it the slime demon who destroyed your entire family? What did that have to do with me? What have you been hiding from me all along? How many lies have you told me? How much of what you said before was true, and how much of it was false? I was so dumb to believe you, to trust you over Tongue. At the very end of my life, I tried to reach out and grab her, to push her away, or, in a fit of rage, to kill the little brat who deceived me in taking my life. Aww, but it seems like he doesn't have enough strength and he's actually kind of hugging her. But in the end, I couldn't summon the strength and only managed to grab her from behind, as if I was hugging her. Wow. At the very end of my life, I actually held her in my arms in a comical way, yet I didn't have the strength to push her away. She cried in my arms, the blade going deeper and deeper. I bled and she wept. In the bumpy wagon, I died in her hands. The cat finally completed her revenge. And I, on the other hand, didn't know who she was in the end and how much she had deceived me. Why did she cry when she killed me in the end? I didn't understand. I'll never have the chance to. Ending. Payback. Liang, watch closely, for I am your retribution. Wow! Man, that was a really good bad end because it shows basically the entire game, Liang was trying to stick to his morals and honestly become a better person than just the bandit that he was, killing for the sake of survival. And the only thing stopping him from feeling guilty or from feeling like he's worse, he's, you know, a bandit or like worse than a piece of shit was his morals. But now seeing, basically because he compromised on them, Monsui, who apparently was after him in this entire time for her family, was like, you're changing for the better, but the moment you decide to go back to your old ways and be selfish again is the moment where I'm going to kill you, because I saw a little bit of you where you could have become a better person. Even though you've previously killed my father, I could see that you're, you know, improving or becoming better. But now that you're going back to your old ways, you're returning to the person that just killed my father, so I'm going to kill you. Damn, that was quite something. That was really good. I don't know what to use for the thumbnail because there are so many things that happen. This is only like, I only did 2 events, or technically 3 since, you know, went up here. But because the moment with like the General Lee was also really, really cool. But this ending is really, really pivotal. I think I'll still stick with like the Lee part because this ending is definitely spoilerish if I use anything from it. But yeah, so I'm gonna scroll. Right now we're 60% through the game pretty much. I'm gonna take a look in the future. We have the rest of chapter 13 left, which is when we make that choice. Chapter 14, Sui, I'm assuming this is Sui part 4. Chapter 15, Sui part 5. And then the rest seem to be like endings. So we have 2 chapters and a whole bunch of different endings. Here we have low affinity, here we have medium affinity, and here we have high affinity. And then here we have maximum affinity with, I don't know what Body of the Starved is, but I'm assuming that's gonna be this. Because you require this in order to get to these 2 endings. On the bottom we have achieve 2 endings except for died halfway, which I think we've done. Achieve any ending except for die halfway, which I think we've done. And Liang chapter 15, yeah, so pretty much I think we have to do 2 more chapters and then things will get kind of weird. We'll have one of these endings or one of these parts, and then we'll go to the end. Well, so just making sure. So you have Payback, we have Wolf Kill, and the rest were died halfway. So we do have the 2 endings needed. So we're pretty much good. I will say, because of the affinity thing, there seems to be 4 different options. That being low affinity, medium, high, and maximum. I'm gonna keep going and get what I get, which I feel like will be high affinity. But the thing is, I don't want to replay the game 4 times just to try out each affinity thing. So I think what I'm going to do is get what I get first time, and then maybe do maximum affinity for the true ending. If I get maximum affinity, I think I might just stick with that, and I'll end up watching low, medium, high on YouTube or something. But it's just a lot of work to replay through the entire game just to change my affinity points. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end today. Man, so much stuff happens. But we'll make the better choice of not going for our own greed, but hoping for Kui and Hong to have a better life in the next choice. But we'll do that next time, and until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!